My name is Jonathan Culbertson, and I am the Compliance Manager at InCheck, a background screening company. Welcome to the April 2024 edition of InCheck's Compliance Update Vlog. Now, the vlog briefly features some recent legal updates that affect background screening and the hiring process. And as always, I intend to provide you with high-level summaries or alerts so that you can take that information back to your teams and legal counsel for further review. Okay, let's get started with the newest fair chance hiring law. Los Angeles County, California passed ordinance number 2024-0012, entitled the Fair Chance Ordinance for Employers. Now, the ordinance applies to employers located in or doing business in the unincorporated areas of Los Angeles County with 5 or more employees, regardless of those employees' location. The ordinance regulates the consideration of criminal history in employment decisions. And as such, it imposes numerous compliance obligations on employers. Among many other things, the ordinance does these 3 things. It regulates what must and must not be included in job postings, the notification requirements if the employer intends to conduct a review of criminal history information, and the process that must be followed to review criminal history and take adverse action based on that criminal history. The ordinance will take effect on September 3rd, 2024. And notably, the County of Los Angeles has published the document entitled Fair Chance Ordinance for Employers FAQs for employers and job seekers, which should be helpful in making sense of all the various compliance obligations under this new law. I encourage all covered employers under the ordinance to go check that out. Okay. So the remaining 2 updates today will highlight 2 pieces of legislation that are expected to soon be adopted. First, the Maryland legislature passed House Bill 649, entitled Labor Employment, Equal Pay for Equal Work, Wage Range Transparency. The legislation applies to employers engaged in business, industry, profession, trade, or other enterprise in Maryland. And among other things, the legislation requires employers to disclose in each public and internal posting for each position the minimum and maximum hourly rate or salary and a general description of benefits and any other compensation offered for the position. Notably, the disclosure requirement only applies to a position for work that will be physically performed, at least in part, in Maryland. If signed by the governor, that bill would take effect October 1st, 2024. And second, the Massachusetts House of Representatives passed House number 1434, entitled An Act Reducing Barriers to Employment Through Credit Discrimination. The legislation regulates the use of background check reports that bear on the consumer's credit worthiness, credit standing, or credit capacity. Specifically, the legislation prohibits employers from using a credit report in connection with or as a criterion for an employment purpose, requesting or procuring a credit report for employment purposes, and requiring an employee or an applicant to answer a question about the contents of a credit report. The only exceptions to those prohibitions include a person required by federal or state law or regulation or the rules of a self-regulatory organization to use a credit report for employment purposes, or 2, the employee or applicant applies for or holds a position that requires a national security clearance. If passed by the Senate and then signed by the government, that act would become effective on January 1st, 2025. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you for joining me for the April 2024 compliance updates. Please join me again next time for some more compliance updates. Thank you.